You are Locked On Dodgers Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Los Angeles on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome in. I am Pete Fox. This is the Locked On Dodgers Postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel, the place to hang out when every game is done. As the Lairdy said, your team every day, and we're in the thick of it right now with the Dodgers. 35 to go, I believe. A 6-3 win today, coming from behind, down 3-0. So lots to get into today about the game, about the horrific umpiring, and some great at-bats tonight. Walker Buehler, I wouldn't say what he did was great, but we'll break it all down for you. That's what we do here on the Locked On Dodgers Postcast. I am Pete Fox, covering sports in LA dating back to 2007 with ESPN LA and NBC Sports Radio. Tonight's episode of the Locked On Dodgers Postcast is brought to you by FanDuel, now through September 22nd. That's more than a month. All FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started. Well, I hate being the negative naysayer when it comes to this game. And by that, I mean, I feel really compelled right now to focus on something negative that really ultimately didn't affect the Dodgers. So that's a bright side. That's a really positive aspect of this negativity. But CB Buckner is freaking terrible. CB Buckner is so terrible that you know his name, right? You don't generally know umpires' names, at least not anymore if you're around my age. I mean, there were a bunch of guys that were like, 70 still umpiring, and they really have just aged out, retired or whatever, died. I don't know. But CB Buckner is a guy that somehow still has a freaking job. And if there is not a better reason for robot umpires than CB Buckner, I do not know what it is. His ball and strike calls are horrific. And it does feel to me like he was out to get the Dodgers tonight. That call right at the end of the game, at home plate, went in favor of the Dodgers, and maybe it was a makeup call to a certain extent. The bottom line was he blew that call too, right? But they challenged it, went to New York, and New York blew it, just like they blew the one at first base. So just blown calls all over the place. The Teoscar Hernandez RBI on his bobblehead night when Mookie got thrown out by Haniger, like that was the right call because Mookie's foot came up. If his foot's down on the ground, his foot pops up, he's safe. Buckner probably blows the call anyway, but that is a situation where you tip your cap to the outfielder and say, good job, Haniger. Nice play. Threw him out at home plate. And let's also give a little bit of credit to Dino Ebel at third base for having some guts, being brave, playing with an aggressive attitude and sending him. Mookie's pretty fast. I mean, that you took a perfect play to get him. And a bit, again, that's reflex. I don't know that Mookie could have done much. If he slides head first, he's safe. If he keeps his foot down, he's safe. Probably. Hard to say because that guy right at the very end there was safe. Again, it was a close play. And as Noma pointed out, as did Joe, there's absolutely no reason for him to go there. Just a ridiculous play. Trying to start something, I don't know, get his team fired up, start a rally, I guess, but you don't want to make the second out at home plate. To be at third with one out and one of your bigger hitters coming up. Really just a foolish play right there. Didn't make any sense at all. So, that would be worth $5 in the swear jar for me. Just not a good play at all. But again, these are negative things, and I really shouldn't be focusing on. I should be focusing on positive things that came out of this game. Unfortunately, Walker Buehler was not one of those. So we'll get to that negativity after some positivity. How about Gavin Lux continuing to just be red hot? Another home run. And it was very, very similar to last night. His first at bat in the second inning was just missed. Excuse me. Just missed one. Hit it to deep center field and came up short, which is exactly what happened last night. And then his next at bat, he comes up and crushes one. Well, he didn't crush it, but he hit it good enough because it just jumped over the wall for a home run. And here comes Max Muncy right after him, who did crush it. That was an absolute bomb. And beautiful to see that he is just right back there in stride. And like, that's one of those home runs where you kind of go, whoa, nice, right? Just like the Hay home run. So again, all the runs tonight coming from home runs. Is that what we ultimately would like? I know it's more exciting. Chicks dig the long ball. I guess everyone digs the long ball ultimately, right? So home runs are runs just like all the rest of them. I don't know that the Dodgers necessarily are relying on home runs like I felt like they have in the past. Tonight, though, again, producing all of their runs with actually, no, my bad. Mookie Betts doubling to left to score Edman there that tied the game at 3. So almost all of them, Lux, Muncy, and Heyward with home runs during the game. But the thing about this game for me that I really probably am most excited about, and we talked about it a little bit last night, there's confidence. There's an energy with this team. The thing I loved about this game was the Dodgers have this comeback energy in them now that I haven't felt they've had for a long time. They don't feel to be down when they're down. Like they're still ready to produce, right? They're in it. They've got that energy, that attitude of we can rally at any given time. So it feels like this team, when they're down, they're fine, right? Right now. And I just hope, again, like I said last night, that they can build on that energy, manifest that energy, bottle it to a certain extent, and keep battling. Something interesting that Nomar and Joe talked about with regard to the Padres and Diamondbacks, who both won again tonight, was very interesting to me, because I've said this in a roundabout way as well. And I appreciated the sentiment that the situation the Dodgers are in right now with the Padres and the Diamondbacks hot on their heels is not necessarily a bad thing. We'll talk about that after the break. I'm Pete Fox. This is the Locked On Dodgers Postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel. You can also listen to us wherever you find your podcasts on the Locked On Dodgers podcast feed. That's where you find Jeff and Vince doing the Locked On Daily Dodgers podcast. You make them your first listen. I am happy to be your second listen right after the game, when we come on and break it down for you like we're doing right now. So, thanks to the everydayers for giving us the opportunity to be your source for your team every day. Tonight's episode of the Locked On Dodgers Postcast is brought to you by FanDuel, or FanDuel. Is it FanDuel or FanDuel? You've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel, however you want to pronounce it, America's #1 sports book. Well, they have something a little different for you. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL's Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with a YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out of market game. All you need to do is have a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel at any time. If you haven't ever had NFL Sunday Ticket because maybe you thought it was too expensive, this is an opportunity for you to check it out and find out how awesome it really is. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and download America's #1 sportsbook. Dodgers with a 6-3 win. They've won. So they won. What did they win? 2 of 3 in St. Louis. Yesterday, 3 of 4. So 4 of 5 they're riding right now, which is really good. And they've got a great record going in the August calendar month. And of course, as I said yesterday, still the best record in baseball. So with the Padres and the Diamondbacks both winning again tonight, Dodgers now 3 up on the Padres still, 4 up on the D-backs. Those two teams have the best record in baseball since the All-Star break, and they are just not going away. And I know I've kind of complained and groused a few times about the fact that it's frustrating. The Dodgers are playing pretty good. I mean, best record in baseball, I guess, deserves the moniker of better than pretty good. They're playing really good, right? They're not lights out right now, but they're very good. And they've gotten over their struggles on the road to a certain extent, much better on the road. They've continued to be good at home, which is nice. 40-22 now, almost 20 games over 500, 18 over 500 at home right now. That is fantastic. 75-52 on the season. The Mariners fall to 64-63, 27-37 on the road with that fantastic pitching staff. A little hard to believe, but their offense struggles mightily. A stat that I am glad does not hover around our team in any way, shape, or form. The M's have the highest strikeout ratio in the history of baseball. Ouch. That cannot be fun to be a Mariners fan. But the fact that the Dodgers have got to keep it going. They got to keep their foot on the gas. They got to focus. They got to put their head down and take care of their own business, but they got to keep playing towards the finish line. As I said, 35 games to go, I believe, in this season. They have to keep the pedal down and keep it rolling, because if they let up for 1 second, the Padres or the Diamondbacks or both of them are going to catch them. And I think this is a good place for the Dodgers to be right now, trying to keep it rolling against the Diamondbacks and the Padres. As Joe pointed out, last year, I believe they won the West by 15 games. 2 years ago, they won by 20 plus. So they just cruised into the postseason the last couple of years, playing the last few weeks of the regular season with nothing on the line, not meaningful baseball. And then you couple that with the week off, because they earned that week off winning the division. And then all of a sudden you got to play a team like the Diamondbacks last year in the first round, who are red hot and have been playing meaningful baseball to them, backs against the wall style, for a month. So I've speculated that, that would be, in my opinion, helpful to the Dodgers making a playoff push and a postseason run and a real opportunity to win a World Series. But then I was speculating, well, how do you do that? How do you keep the baseball meaningful down the stretch? Well, the Padres and Diamondbacks are taking care of that for them this year. But if the Padres and Diamondbacks weren't good and the Dodgers were cruising, they're in the same place again. I don't know how you get past that. I don't think there's a way. You can't just start losing games intentionally to make the final 2 weeks more meaningful. So it's a fortunate benefit to them, I believe, that they have real competition going on right now, and all of this baseball is very meaningful down the stretch. A 6-3 win tonight over the Mariners. Again, home runs from Hay, which was a bomb in a pinch hit off the bench. Max Muncy and Gavin Lux going back-to-back in back-to-back nights is awesome. Freddie Freeman, a double. Let's just do the Diamond Dogs list. I'm doing it in reverse order. I'll start at the top with Freddie Freeman's double in the first. Came with 2 outs. It came on a fastball. Nice piece of hitting from Freddie. Shohei Ohtani then had a 1-out triple in the third for a period of time. Those were the only 2 hits from the Dodgers. Freddie was 1 for 2 on the night with 2 walks and a strikeout. So he got on base 3 times. Then Gavin Lux in the fourth hit the home run. His 10th, just barely got out, crawled over the wall, and then rolled down the backside of the wall and popped out the bottom of the fence, which was, again, something I've never seen before. And Joe Davis and Nomar also commented they've never seen that happen before. But it was almost nearly a spectacular play by Robles, but ran out of room there. Then right after the Lux home run, Max Muncy hit a blast to right in the fourth. It was a 2-1 four-seamer that was just up in the zone. And, he loves that ball up in the zone. He was all over it and waiting for it in a hitter's count there. That was the perfect pitch, and he jumped on it. So good to see Max Muncy returning red hot, and that's a good place to be. And it's also comforting. It gives the Dodgers, I think, energy. and it gives them confidence as a team. And that's infectious. I feel like they're playing infectious rally baseball right now. They have a contagious, I guess. I came up with an acronym. What was it? Contagious Rally Attitude, a CRA. That's what they have, a contagious rally attitude. They have that ability to feed off one another when they start the rally, when the rally gets going. The next guy is, next man up kind of thing. Let me at him. I want to get in there and hit. And that's awesome to see. For number one, we have three number ones tonight because I couldn't just pick one. Tommy Edman had a double to lead off the seventh. Nice piece of hitting for him, scored his first run as a Dodger. And then Mookie Betts drives home Edman, 2-out RBI double to tie the game at 3. And the Dodgers are very good hitting with 2 outs, and I love to see that trend continue. And then Jay Hay, a 3-run blast in the 8th off the bench, pinch hitting, 372 feet, a 2-1 fastball. It was his 6th of the year. And the cool part about all of that was you could see how much his teammates enjoyed that home run, and they were just excited for him because he hasn't gotten a lot of at bats lately and hasn't really been all that hot. So that was all good to see. Jeff and Vince will be on doing the Locked On Dodgers postcast live on their channel, the Locked On Dodgers YouTube channel, when I am done here doing the postcast. BC is ready to call his shot, World Series or bust. And we kind of glazed over some of the thoughts on Walker Buehler's performance. I got a text from a buddy who was a Dodger fan. He was a little behind. He watches them, kind of recorded to skip over the commercials and whatnot. So it was the 4th inning. He was in the 3rd inning, and he was like, "Buehler is killing me," was the text I got. And I texted him back, "Don't worry, it'll be over real fast," because he was yanked in the 4th, giving up 3 runs on 7 hits, just 1 strikeout. But more than anything, I feel like the Dodgers are trying their damnedest to get Walker Buehler back on track. They're giving him opportunities. They're giving him a longer leash, and it's just not working. I think I feel bad. I know I feel bad for Walker Buehler because you could see the frustration on his face. You could hear him screaming out there on the mound when things are not working. The discussion in those first couple innings from Nomar and Joe was kind of like something seems to be visually changing in his demeanor when he gets 2 strikes, because he was 2 strikes ahead. He got 2 outs real fast, and then he gave up a double, 2 walks, and then a single to score 2 runs. And the single came with 2 strikes. He was just struggling with 2 strikes. He couldn't throw strikes. Ball was way out of the zone, non-competitive pitches. And, then when he finally got out of that inning, he was just screaming. I mean, it was just, it has to be really, really, really frustrating. So I give him credit for battling, and I hope the Dodgers, find a place for him that would be useful. But at this point, it doesn't seem like the starting pitching is a place where he is effective right now. I don't know that Roy's suggestion is going to be happening, DFAing him enough already. I felt like this could be his last start, at least for this season with the Dodgers. I'm not saying he's done forever, but who knows? I mean, we won the game at the end of the day, so it wasn't like, hey, Buehler cost us this game. That's obviously part of the story. Even though Buehler wasn't great, they won, right? And that was because the offense showed up and the bullpen did too. The bullpen hung a bunch of zeros on him. Vesia, 1 inning, 18 pitches, 1 strikeout, the rest zeros. Brazier, an inning and a 3rd. Zeros, 1K, 18 pitches. Bonda was good, 2/3 of an inning, 1K, zeros. Joe Kelly was good. His ball was moving around tonight, and that's nice to see. Because sometimes it's moving around and it doesn't seem like he can control it, and it's not always a strike. And sometimes when he's trying to bury one, it seems like it's too far out of the zone. He's wild. I mean, he has the ability to strike people out because his stuff is pretty wicked and he throws hard, but sometimes he gets wild. Not tonight. 16 pitches. He did have 1 walk, 1K, the rest zeros. And then Hudson came in, gave up a hit, but the rest zeros, 15 pitches, got out of it. I was kind of shaking my head there. I'm like, really? Seriously? Daniel Hudson? Come on. Like, we need this. This is a win that they need. Where's Kopech? Come on. We need to get Kopech in there more frequently. Are you only going to throw him in there in high leverage situations? Is that the deal? I don't know. I mean, it's still a save, right? Still a save opportunity. And if Rivas doesn't get thrown out at home plate, or let me back up. If CB Buckner and the New York umpires don't blow that call at home plate that went in favor of the Dodgers, it could be a whole different ball game. So I don't know. I just feel like Walker Buehler, Nando thinks he's washed. I mean, maybe, I don't know. I feel, is it mental or physical with him? Because he's still throwing the ball hard. I feel like it's more mental than physical. He can still get it up there. He's still got good action on the ball. It's about control. It's about command, right? And they pointed out tonight, which I thought was interesting, that those are different things. Like, command is being able to locate, like, where do you want the ball to go? I want it to go outside, inside, up, down, whatever. Control is just throwing strikes. They wanted fastball command tonight. They wanted him to dot the fastball in certain places. He didn't do it. Sadly, right? Struggled with 2 strikes. It felt like the breaking ball was pretty good, but that's not enough, especially this time of year. Yamamoto's right around the corner. So I feel like he gets one more start. Here's what's going on with Yamamoto, by the way. Well, I'll tell you after the break. How's that for a tease? I'll give you the latest on Yamamoto right after the break. I'm Pete Fox. This is the Locked On Dodgers Postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel, the place to hang out when every game is done. You can also listen to us wherever you find your podcasts on the Locked On Dodgers podcast feed. That's where you find Jeff and Vince doing the Locked On Daily Dodgers podcast. They're coming on live here in just a little bit, so check them out for sure. Tonight's episode of the Locked On Dodgers Postcast is also brought to you by PrizePicks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million members. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play DFS. Unlike other apps, on PrizePicks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 players and their stat projections for the night and watch the winnings roll in. For example, if you pick Caleb Williams passing yards, you get 1 win on PrizePicks every week in September. So you just need to pick Caleb Williams with something else. The above and below for Caleb Williams is 1 yard. So if he plays, I would assume he would surpass that number. Only 1 yard gets you an automatic win every football weekend in September. 4 weeks of free wins or W's. Don't miss the deal on PrizePicks because it's gone when September ends. You can now also win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with the Red Demons. They pay more. They're a little harder to hit, but with 4 correct picks, you can turn 10 into 1,000. And also with preseason football here, it's underway. Make sure you get your season-long projections in as well. For example, if you think Patrick Mahomes is going to throw for more or less than 4,300 yards, or will CJ Stroud's sophomore season result in more or less than 4,150 yards? Enter your season picks week 1 before week 1 kicks off. PrizePicks is available to you in more than 30 states across the country, including California, Texas, and Georgia. It's very easy to download. It's very easy to deposit and withdrawals. My first deposit was super painless and hassle-free. Download the PrizePicks app today and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's Locked On MLB on PrizePicks.com for a first deposit match up to $100. PrizePicks, run your game. All right, Dodgers with a 6-3 win, coming from behind on home runs from Gavin Lux, Max Muncy, and J.A. Ripped one down the right field line up in the zone, and he took advantage of it, got every inch of it, hit a 3-run bomb there that put it away for the Dodgers. And then Shohei hit a screamer in the 8th. He's 5 for 30 over the last 7 days. Pretty good. He's starting to come out of it a little bit. More than anything today, he had 1 ugly strikeout, and I still feel like he struggles on curveballs down and away. Like, he's just undisciplined. That ball starts to curve away. He doesn't pull back. he's on it, right? He's very aggressive, but he's very undisciplined as well. And that down and away curveball just haunts him still. But anything else in the zone he can get to. Really, down and in, a little bit challenging at times, but he can hit it, right? Down and away, I don't know that he can hit that ball. It's just something that he just flails at and corkscrews himself down into the ground. But again, I feel like he's starting to come out of it a little bit. 2 hits today, 5 of 30 over the last 7 days, 3 home runs, and just 9 Ks. That's not too terribly bad for a week of Shohei Ohtani. So that is good to see. The Yamamoto update is they're going to do 2 more sim innings or sim games. They said 2 innings and then 1 inning. I don't know if you call that a game, I guess. So the sims will happen this week, and then next week he'll actually go and do a rehab assignment probably in Oklahoma City. So he's going to be out for another, let's say full week from today, maybe a week and a half. And I believe that'll give Walker Buehler one more chance through the lineup. So for those of you that want him DFA'd, I think we're going to see him at least one more time. And hopefully he finds something there, because I even if he goes out and throws 5 shutout innings with 6 Ks, I don't think we're all going to be like, oh, cool, Walker's back, it's all good. He's going to be our 5th starter or 4th starter or whatever. I feel like he's still probably bound for the bullpen if he makes the postseason roster at all. Excuse me. Every time I forget to bring water, I get a frog in my throat. It's inevitable. So yeah, I feel like Walker Buehler is odd man out when we head towards the postseason. Because unless Tyler Glasnow still is hurt and Walker finds something. But if Glasnow comes back, Yamamoto comes back, Jack Flaherty's in there, and Gavin Stone. Those are your 4 guys postseason right there. And that's what they're going to ride with. So Walker Buehler is going to need to find a place in that bullpen to be sure. Let's hope that Gavin Lux keeps hitting, because that is fantastic. He's been a big time spark for this team. Obviously, Mookie coming back, continuing to hit. Another hit tonight, 1 for 5 with an RBI, just 1K, batting .305 on the season. His OPS, 895. Shohei, 2 for 5. As I said, I feel like he's starting to come out of it a little bit. Who's not coming out of it? Teoscar. Did get that base hit tonight. Got robbed of the RBI with the bad call at home plate. Actually, no, that was the one that they got right. The bad slide at home plate by Mookie Betts. And it was nice for him to get a hit there on his bobblehead night. But really, that guy's struggling mightily. That is just his 3rd hit in his last 8 games. So clutch nonetheless. So hopefully he starts to find a rhythm as well. Will Smith, 0 for again. He's batting .245, and he just keeps moving down the lineup. Dave Roberts saying that he's doing that to take some pressure off, the way he did with Evan Phillips, putting him in the 7th and lower leverage positions. And it seems like Evan Phillips is starting to find a rhythm again and starting to pitch well. Hasn't allowed a run here in the month of August. Max Muncy obviously returning red hot, 1-for-2 tonight with 2 runs scored. Tommy Edman had a base hit and a run scored, and Kevin Kiermaier put a base hit into the outfield tonight as well. So that's good to see. They pinch hit for him, though, after a second at bat. Kike came up and went 0 for 1, and then the J. Hay home run from Jason Heyward, which was a bomb. I think that just about covers the entirety of this game. Dodgers a 6-3 win. Back at it tomorrow night to wrap up this series. Off on Thursday. It'll be Flaherty going for the Dodgers tomorrow. Again, it's at 7:10 at the Ravine. Logan Gilbert will start for the Mariners, another one of their fantastic pitchers with a paltry 2.96 ERA. An unfortunate 7-9 record, because the Mariners are just not good offensively. It's a weird team. Very bizarre. Great pitching, mediocre hitting at best, but they strike out a ton. This is a team that I am glad that I am not a fan of, because that would just be, that'd be infuriating to watch that team play. You got great pitching, but you can't make anything out of it. Again, tonight with the loss, they're 64-63. The Dodgers are 75-52, good for the best record in baseball. Thanks for joining me here on the Locked On Dodgers postcast. We'll talk to you tomorrow, right after game 3 of this series. Again, it starts at 7:10, and I'll be on right after the game as per usual. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for the comments. Have a good night. We'll talk tomorrow.